Tell the truth as often as possible. Religion is a lie. All of it. That's the truth. Gods are false. All of them. That's the truth. If it means so much to you to have a God, that's too bad. Your God is false. All of them. That's the truth. And the fact that you believe something does not mean I have to respect it. If you believe in Santa Claus, I can still respect you as a person, but that belief in Santa Claus that you have, I'm not going to respect that. And the fact that you believe it doesn't mean I have to respect that belief, because that belief is silly. And believing in all false things are silly. And it's fine that we criticize. And it's fine that we attack the assertion that we're not allowed to criticize silly, wrong beliefs. All the things that we do are around this point. So, number 2, don't feign respect for the unrespectable. See point 1. Because if you go up to somebody and say, oh, I respect your belief in Santa Claus, you're lying. You're not telling the truth. You're telling a lie. And that's what I want to, and all of this is going to fit into this. If you feign respect because of political correctness, you're lying. If you feign respect because of any reason, you're lying. And you need to identify that. Point 3. Don't accept inequality or privilege as acceptable, even if it is the norm. See point 2. Because if you accept that Christians get advantages, that religious people get advantages over unreligious people, if you say, well, that's okay, and you know it's not, but if you say that it is because it's the norm, you're feigning respect for the unrespectable. You are telling a lie. Inequality is not acceptable. Privilege is not acceptable. Somebody getting something because they think there's a God in the sky, when you don't because you don't think there's a God in the sky, that's not acceptable. We have a country of equals, and we demand our equality. And saying that inequality is okay in any circumstances is a lie. See point 1. Point 4. If someone claims to be offended by the truth, it's because they are used to privilege and social superiority and actually just fear being equal. I call these folks equalophobes. Bill O'Reilly is the king of equalophobe land. So don't let I'm offended silence you. A good example. Christians put a Ten Commandments monument on public land. We say, we want to put a monument next to it. We are attacking Christianity when we do that. We are pushing ourselves on them when we do that. It's not about that. It's about equality. But taking our equality is taking away their privilege, and they call it an attack. And that's bullshit. Sorry folks, I swear a little bit. You know why people from New Jersey swear? Because fuck you. So what you have to understand is that so many people, especially in the religious side, are afraid of just being equal. They call it an attack, and they call it a threat, and they call it the loss of whatever, and the war on Christmas. And it's all about fearing being equal. And it's something that must be recognized. So if somebody says, I'm offended, right? What do? You don't say, okay, I'm on a stop. You're going to challenge them on it. You're going to say, well, you can be offended all you want. I'm not attacking you. But you are not your beliefs. You know, so many times, almost all the time, people are told from birth what they are. You are a Christian. You are a Jew. You are a Muslim. From your infancy. So there's this intertwining of self and religion. We have to unintertwine that. So when you say, gods are false, and they say, well, I'm offended. Well, you can be offended. Your God is still false. And I don't think you're stupid. I think you're wrong on this point. It's a very clear line that we can make. And don't be afraid of the words, I'm offended. That's just a matter of their brainwashing, not allowing your words, pardon me, to think in. Now, if someone tries to limit your freedom using religion, do points 1 to 4 only louder. What that means goes back to my friend Muhammad the Prophet of Islam over here. You recording? This is Muhammad, Prophet of Islam. Okay? I encourage everybody to draw Muhammad and to post Muhammad. Now, a lot of people say, oh, well, when you do that, you're just pissing people off. They don't understand. We don't do this just to piss people off. We do this because we're pissed off that we're being told that we can't do this. Okay? Nobody was drawing Muhammad before we weren't allowed to draw Muhammad. They told us we can't do it, and that's crap, because their religious laws don't affect us. We don't have to obey their religious laws. If they say, hey, it's against our religious laws for you to do that, well, that's too fucking bad, isn't it? Because your religious laws do not affect me, I do not respect your religion, and I am under no obligation to honor your religion or to follow your rules. Your rules are for you, I obey civil laws. Now, why do we do this? There's an episode of South Park. You all watch South Park? Everybody watch South Park? There's an episode of South Park that we're not allowed to see. We're not allowed to see it anymore. That decision has been made. If you want to watch a South Park rerun, you are not allowed to see it because it has a drawing of Muhammad in it. You're not allowed to see it. That decision has been made for you. We have lost the right to see that episode because the Muslims want you to live by their rules. And Comedy Central said yes. I say no. Because every time you say yes, important point here, every time you say yes and you acquiesce to a loss of a right, please remember, it is not the last right you will lose. That's only the first one. If you can't draw Muhammad, what's next? You can't insult Muhammad. That's coming. You can see it coming. You can see it in Europe. It's happening right now. No. We draw Muhammad. We're going to keep that window from sliding. We're going to keep our rights where they belong, with us. Now, let me get into the data. That's fire-brand atheism. That's it. That's it. This is what... Whoops. Let me go back to that. This is what all of our work centers around. Telling the truth as often as possible. Telling the truth as often as possible. Every billboard we put up, every lawsuit we file, every time I go on television, it's all right here. As possible. So the question is, does it work? Does it work? Let's look. I promised you data. Whoops. I promised you data, and here it is. Eventually. There. Darn, this is not doing well for me at all. Sorry, folks. All right. So, this is one of my favorite slides. It's one of my favorite charts. The blue line is searches for the word atheist in a given month. Every month, searching for the word atheist. And it goes up and down, and it goes up and down relative to news. Okay? News makes people search on the word atheist more often. If there's no news on atheist in a given month, the searches go down. And they go down to this red line, which I represent as the floor, and I represent that as atheist normalcy. This is a barometer, rather, of atheist normalcy. This is how often people are looking up the word atheist when they're not being prodded to do so. All right. So, things are going on, and it goes up and down, up and down, up and down. And late in 2006, The God Delusion, Letter to a Christian Nation, and God Is Not Great all come out at the same time. They all go on book tour. Everybody starts reading. Everybody starts talking to them. And there's a good spike, bigger than all the other previous spikes. But look what happens. That red line goes up. Atheist normalcy actually goes up here. It's an interesting phenomenon. The spikes continue, but it never goes back down to its original place. So it looks, from that point, from that data point, that these points, that this occurs, that this occurrence actually increased atheist normalcy in America. This is all America. Now we've got a couple spikes here. We've got a spike for Christmas 06, a spike for Christmas 07. There's a spike in every Christmas. That is what I call the O'Reilly factor. That is what O'Reilly and the rest of Fox News bitches about atheists, ruining Christmas again. And so people search it. And it always goes back down to the floor until here. Next part of the chart, something happens. Christmas of '08, Richard Dawkins put bus ads all over London. There's probably no God, now stop worrying and enjoy your life. Yes, it was a British event, but it was all over the news here in America. And there was also a couple of lawsuits that went here, and everybody was talking about it. It was huge. Everybody was talking about it. And the floor never went back down again. See how things are progressing. Now, this little corner right here is September of 2010. In September of 2010, two important things happened. And you can Google this and find out for yourself. In September of 2010, two important things happened. Number one, Pew Research came out and said that atheists know more about religion than religious people. This is something we all knew. Number two, far more important, I was elected president of American Atheists. And so we started our firebrand activism there. We've always been a firebrand organization, but to be honest, there wasn't a lot of activity before me in these earlier years. And then I took over, and here is what happened. What you're seeing there is a climb of the norm that's twice as big as these in half the time. Twice as big a jump in half the time. And it looks like all of these spikes are actually pulling up that norm. It appears that way. So you have to look at those spikes and see what caused the spikes. And if you do, you will see that every single one of those spikes corresponds with American Atheists' firebrand activity. Every single one. The Arabic Hebrew billboards. The number one was, of course, the Reason Rally. The Christian and Mormon billboards. These were great. We put a Mormon billboard on a truck and followed the Mitt Romney campaign around. It was a lot of fun. Every single one. You know it's a myth. You know they're all scams. You know there is no God. You know it's nonsense. All of these spikes, with the exception of that one right there, corresponds directly with American atheist activity. All of them. Interesting. Interesting. Convincing? No.